Hey, it's the Clockwork Mage, and this broadcast spell is live. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Ramblings of a Dungeon Master. Welcome, welcome. So today we are going to be going over how to introduce more roleplay into your sessions. I'd like to say that there's an easy solution to this, but there really isn't. While there isn't an easy solution, there are some steps that you can take to bring more roleplay into your game. But the first thing you need to know is if you are bringing more roleplay into the game, you have to make sure that everyone wants that. I know, weird thought, you're playing Dungeons & Dragons and people don't want to roleplay as much. That honestly has happened to me more than you'd realize. I have had many players that just do not want to add that much more roleplay into the game. That can really take away from things as a DM, but I also know some DMs that would prefer to do more hack and slash or basically run the numbers game if they really wanted to. And that's okay. That's how that DM played the game, and I know quite a few people that just like to play the numbers game with Dungeons & Dragons. And again, that's just their preferred method. That's how they play. And I have no fault for them at all. But going forward, I'm assuming you guys have all asked your party and you've all figured out that yes, your party wants to add more roleplay to your game. To go forward, the first thing is talk to the party. They need to understand that it's a two-way street. You can give them every single encounter. If they just give you one-liners and they dodge every single NPC you throw at them, or they just say, yeah, here you go, and that's it, they don't add anything or anything like that, then you're not going to get more roleplay. You need everyone to be on board. And if everyone isn't on board, then you're probably just going to keep running into the same problems that you were before. Another thing is to also encourage roleplay at your table. Now, this sounds like a no-brainer, but I promise it's something that you need to do. You need to encourage them to roleplay with each other. So an example of this would be to say, for example, you have two players saying that they want to exchange a weapon between each other. They do it out of character and they say, oh, here you go, here's the weapon. But that doesn't make sense. They didn't do anything in character. They didn't really understand it. It's as if their characters read each other's minds. And honestly, I know some tables are okay with that, especially if you're just trying to move things along. But if you're trying to add more roleplay, then have them play the encounter out. Have everyone else around them hear it. This will immediately add more roleplay, and they have to be in character for it. Even if it's a small exchange, those small exchanges can go a long way because they can lead into other things. Like, for example, if I am handing someone a box and I know what's in the box and the other player knows what's in the box, but not the whole table, maybe that's a chance for another character to hop in and say, hey, what are you tossing around? What are you passing around here? And then that sparks everything, because it could be something as simple as jewelry. And then there's a whole conversation behind it, and there's a lot more that can spark from just small interactions like that. And really encourage roleplay at the table, even if you aren't the one partaking in it as a DM. You don't always have to be the one partaking in it. Your players should be able to roleplay with each other as well. One other thing that I like to do that encourages a lot of roleplay at the table is I do like to give bonuses in combat for creative roleplay, for things like that. It's a lot of fun, and it creates a more in-depth combat system too. I add small bonuses here and there, and I give them incentive to be more thematic as they are in combat. I know this can slow combat down, and honestly, when I'm running a bigger party, so say I'm running more than 4 players, I don't always do that, but if I'm running 4 players, a normal D&D party, I encourage combat roleplay. It's a lot of fun. It can be something as simple as them using the terrain around them. So them jumping off of a wall to get a better angle on something, or if they just do anything. There's many things that they can do that will give them an advantage, and it's not all in the book, and that's okay. It doesn't need to be. That's where DM Rule 0 steps in, and it's extremely helpful for small scenarios like that to, again, encourage roleplay. This can even be as simple as when someone gets the killing blow, ask them, okay, how did you finish them off? That is something that a lot of DMs incorporate, and I love it. I love when I see that, and I love when DMs give the player that ending strike, ending blow. It doesn't have to be every single strike they do, but it's always good to have something for them to play out. Something to make their characters feel more like characters, rather than just a video game character that they're controlling. And another thing that I highly suggest as a dungeon master to increase more roleplay is to force more roleplay from yourself. You need to roleplay. If you are not roleplaying, your players will not roleplay. That is how you are running the game. You need to get into character, even if you're making a silly voice or something like that. Something like, "Hello, I am the Knight Devin, and I am fighting you," or something simple. It is just something that will get them into even a laughing mood. Let them laugh at your ridiculous roleplay because they will roleplay with you and they'll feel like it's okay to roleplay. Sometimes players get awkward, sometimes they don't feel comfortable roleplaying at the table, especially if you're a new group. It can be extremely hard to get over that awkwardness. Be the one to help them overcome it. Be the silly one to make them all enjoy the roleplay that you're bringing to the table. Make sure you are giving them everything they need and every opportunity to exceed. You are the dungeon master. You need to be the one to push for this. It's your game. And as long as everyone is happy and wanting this, then they should feel some relief seeing you push forward and go into the unknown by creating these silly roleplay voices and scenarios for them. That's probably the most important point I'm going to have in this whole entire video. Make sure you, as the dungeon master, are role-playing as well. That is going to help your players push forward and be role players like you want them to be. Okay, another thing I should bring up is you can't expect change to happen immediately. And please do not expect change to happen immediately for your players. That can be very hard for them to push forward and become amazing role players right off the bat. If they're not used to it, it's kind of like a skill in itself. You need to give them time, and you need to encourage them to just push them forward and slowly get there. They'll get there in time. Just give them that time. Role-playing isn't easy, and that's okay. The more you do it, the better you're gonna get. Especially when you're new to a character or anything like that, it's gonna take you longer to make decisions as that character. You aren't gonna be able to immediately jump into their mindset. You aren't gonna be able to just flesh them out immediately either. That's unrealistic, and I hope that none of you think that you have to do that. As long as you are giving time and they're putting in effort, then that's all that should matter. They will get there, slowly but surely. I've never had a player just immediately jump into roleplay and feel comfortable with it. Honestly, it's kind of an awkward thing, and we're all nerds at the end of the day, and social communication can be very awkward for all of us. But that's okay. Again, as long as we're trying, that's what matters at the end. Now, there is one other pitfall that I worry some parties have fallen into. And if you have fallen into this, it's going to be a little tougher to get out, but hopefully I can still give you some advice for it. If you've gotten into the pitfall that the players are so far along in the campaign that they haven't been playing a character this whole time, they've just been playing that video game version of themselves that everyone plays when they're playing an action RPG or anything like that. If that's the case and they've been doing this for a long time and there's just no roleplay, it's time to help them reassess their characters. The best way I would say to help reassess their characters is to give their characters goals. Not you. Ask the players what goals their characters have. Goals immediately create something that the character wants and that the players are striving towards. This can help a player get into the character's mindset and help them start fleshing out this person that is not them. And remember, my most important rule: you are not your character, and your character is not you. Everything that happens in the game should not be a reflection of who you are outside of the game. This is extremely important, especially when doing role playing, because that needs to be different. It needs to be shown that they are different people. My character, Jet, is not me, the Clockwork Mage. It is a character, and I'm going to roleplay as that character. You're not trying to just make yourself in D&D most of the time. I mean, there are campaigns for that, but I'm not getting into that. Most of the time, you are not making yourself in Dungeons & Dragons. You are making a character. And that difference is everything when it comes to the game. After the players have their goals set, then ask them to pick some extreme personality trait. Just something wacky. Just something that brings them out of their comfort zone. So a great example of this is most barbarian players. They make their player characters really dumb. And that's half the fun for them, right? Like, that is an exaggerated trait. And making their character dumb is half the fun of role-playing. They just want to beat stuff up and they don't care about the semantics of the situation. That is a barbarian in a nutshell. And that is what makes that character fun to play. Another example is you could play a sly, cunning character. And that's really fun for some players as well. Most of them would fall into the edgy rogue territory or something like that. Play a cliche character. Don't be afraid to play a cliche character. They're cliche for a reason, because everyone does it and they're fun. They are really fun. Don't be afraid to step into something that's been done before, because once you do that, then you can make it your own and you can have fun playing a character that is way different than yourself. I hope this video was helpful for all of you DMs out there. I really do. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to join my Discord, there is a link down below. Don't be afraid to join and say hi. I hope all of you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time.